Hey, brand builder, Rory Vaden here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this interview. As always, it's our honor to provide it to you for free. And wanted to let you know there's no big sales pitch or anything coming at the end. However, if you are someone who is looking to build and monetize your personal brand, we would love to talk to you and get to know you a little bit and hear about some of your dreams and visions and share with you a little bit about what we're up to see if we might be a fit. So if you're interested in a free strategy call with someone from our team, we would love to hear from you. You can do that at brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall, brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall. We hope to talk to you soon.
So Tony Robbins is arguably at least one of the most successful personal brands in the world, one of the biggest personal brands in the world, one of the highest revenue generating personal brands in the world. I mean, he'd be up there. Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, Oprah, Brene Brown, Gary Vaynerchuk, maybe but how cool would it be to know what Tony Robbins' event strategy is for selling people at his events? Pretty awesome. Well, that is exactly what happened on this last interview with Bari Baumgardner on our podcast. She and her husband, Blue, are the ones that have been formulating and working with Tony to create the entire virtual event experience ever since COVID happened. And wow, they have been selling a massive amount of revenue. And really, and beyond the money, they have been impacting hundreds of thousands of people using virtual events when the whole world was shut down, and probably when people needed encouragement and inspiration the most. They found a way to do this and make it profitable and a great experience for everybody. And we got a chance to talk to her, and I have to say, I had never talked to Bari. Very rarely do we have someone on this show where it's like I'm meeting them for the first time during the interview, but that was the case here with Bari. She was referred to me by a good friend of mine, Randy Garn, and I'd heard about Bari and Blue because we've used their technology, etc. And anyways, it was such an awesome interview, a powerful interview here on running profitable virtual events. I think we're going to try this. I think we're actually going to experiment with this format. So anyways, let me give you my three highlights and takeaways. In some ways, this one more than other episodes really will function as like a summary of what she covered, because she covered so much. And it was so powerful that even for my own knowledge and like my own retention, some of this I'm just recapping. So first of all, she talked about the 4 non-negotiables of a virtual event. And the big idea here, which is so simple but so smart and powerful, is to go, if you want a virtual event to emulate the kind of results that you would have from a physical in-person event, then you need to try to emulate the in-person event experience or the dynamics of it as much as possible. And that makes so much sense to me. And she said, well, there's 4 non-negotiables that we have. So first is the registration process has to take place. You have to go through a virtual check-in process. That makes sense. Second was physical swag and sending somebody something physically in the mail. And that makes a lot of sense, right? That's like super powerful. That makes people show up and take it serious. The third was gamification, which I think is more of just like attention. It's like attention or retention strategy. And then the fourth is interactivity, which of course is the best part of in-person events. It's almost always the people you meet and the relationships you make in the hallways and all that kind of stuff. And it's not just what you're learning, but the people that are there. Well, in a virtual environment, you have to really work just deliberately to recreate that. And so those are 4 simple things. She walked through them in detail, but I think it's more of just, there's lots of ways for how to do those 4 things. It's more of knowing what the 4 things are. And really, to me, the big idea there is going, how can we model our virtual event to emulate the experiences of an in-person event? And by doing that, we'll emulate the results of an in-person event. That will emulate the experience, the client experience, the user experience of being at a real event in person. And that's what they're doing. And that's part of why they're getting the kind of same sales results and bigger sales results with these virtual events. We'll talk about that in just a second. The second big takeaway, which to me was like, I guess, the grand takeaway of the whole interview, was this very, very simple 3-day format. And on the one hand, I'm like a little bit skeptical of going, can you really hold people's attention for 3 days? But on the other hand, I mean, Brand Builders Group, we do 2-day events. Like all of our members, the people, our paying members who are in our coaching program, they get unlimited access to our events. So part of what they do is they pay a monthly fee, and they can come to. We do a 2-day event every single month, and they can come as many as they want. It's unlimited access, and the time flies by. So I go, yeah, I could totally see the 3-day format. But the key is, and she made this point, which is also how we've constructed our events, is you're not teaching for 3 straight days. Like you can't just stand up and talk for 3 days, and certainly not in a virtual event. So the whole thing is it's got to be interactive. There's got to be exercises and questions and dialogues. And this is one of the reasons why I think we might try this, is because when somebody comes to one of our events, their life is freaking changed. I mean, when our members, this is why we retain our clients for years. Like on average, our clients stay with us for years. Like we've only been in business for 4 years, and like a third of the clients that signed up with us in the very beginning are still with us, or like more like 25%. 25% of the people who signed up with us like 4 years ago are still with us. So people hang around, and then we didn't even know what we were doing back then, right? So we're just figuring it out. Like you've really gotten it dialed in the last couple of years. And but people, when they have this experience, it's like life-changing, and then they stick around. And so part of what our team has been trying to figure out is going, how do we get people to sort of get that experience, like get a way to sample that? And I think Bari's model here is a great one. And so we're looking at this. We're not haven't officially announced that we're going to do this, but again, I'm learning right alongside you here with the people who come on this show. And this is one that was super compelling to me, going, I think we should try this, because we have a lot of fans that have not yet become customers. And it's like, I think they trust us. I think they kind of see it, but it's exactly what she was talking about. They're not totally sure that they could do it, or what the next step is, or that it's worth the money, or that. And so it's sort of like they just need to experience it. And I think this 3-day format gives people a chance to really experience it and get involved and get acclimated and get familiar with your content and what the process feels like to go through. So, she talked about this 3-day format. And, basically the first day is just getting a sense of what is possible, teaching some content, like, adding some real value in the first day. And probably I got the sense that like a lot of the teaching does happen in the first day, or a big part of the first day is teaching and giving people real content, but also giving them a chance to sort of establish their own vision and see what do they see as possible for themselves. And then day 2 is really where you spend more time talking about the gap of like, okay, where are you now compared to where you want to be? And what would your life look like if you achieve that? And what's the process that it takes to get there? And so you sort of, and then you show them the solution and you show them the journey. So like, for example, at Brand Builders Group, we have our brand builder journey. Ours is actually called the brand builder journey. In fact, if you've never been to our website, if you go to brandbuildersgroup.com, and then under the About menu, there's a sub menu that's our brand process. You can see how we map this out for people, just as an example. And also, if you haven't yet requested a call with our team, you should go look at this, and it lays out, our 12, we have a 14-part journey all in that we take people on to go from like concept all the way to 8-figure personal brand and becoming one of the most well-known people in the world, which several of our clients are. So you can check that out at just go to brandbuildersgroup.com and click on about, and then click on our brand process. But I think that's what I got a sense is whatever your brand process is, that's what you lay out on day 2. Those of you that are listening that are members of ours, what this would be is when we take you through captivating content and we help you map out all your pillars and you lay out like your high level framework and you know, your unique branded methodology and all those things, that's what you're really introducing them to in day 2 is what it sounds like. And then tactically, this was important. I was digging, you know, to make sure I got crystal clear on this. At the end of day 2 is where you make the offer, right? So that's where you make the offer, and you let people sort of hear it and you invite them to join. And so you think of day 2 as making the offer, and then day 3 is basically like close cart. And so then on day 3, they come back. Day 3 is all about just getting people that are there to make a decision to do something differently in their life, to future cast or to vision what it's going to feel like when they do reach the goals that they have, and reminding people it's not too late to join. And then it sounds like there's a second offer on day 3 in the morning, which is the heart, the heart pitch and the heart close in the morning. And then I thought it was really great where Bari was talking about you need to have celebration. And you know, there were a couple key things here. One was having that lunchtime celebration for all new members or all people who were joining whatever the program is, that they get to come. And so, you know, like she said, no one wants to miss the start of a program. And so people want to sign up because they want to get that invitation. That's really compelling and powerful and productive, like pragmatic to go, while you're all here, let's get everyone together and like actually start the program and get people going. Really, really smart and simple. And then the other thing that I really loved was where she was saying, you know, have breakout rooms in your virtual meeting for sales to take place, right? And I think she said, you know, something like with Tony, they've got, you know, dozens of salespeople just standing by running breakout rooms. And so when people have questions, they're just going, oh, hey, you come over, you know, come in here and talk with our salesperson. You know, don't say salesperson, but like, come get your questions answered. That's super productive and, you know, just really smart. And like, again, she's emulating what happens in a real life event. At a real life event, you know, you make an offer, people go to the back table to talk to someone to get information about it, and then they sign up. Well, in a virtual room, in a virtual event, you got to create the same thing. So the way you do that is you leverage breakout rooms in Zoom. And if you don't have a sales team, then you could use like a Calendly link and let people schedule times with you, you know, that evening or, you know, sometime or near and in and around the event, so that you can close people and sign them up while they're excited. And that just, gosh, I mean, that makes so much sense to me. So simple. And like she said, the best part about it is the you don't have to do like a big hard sales pitch. The format of the event sells itself because people are with you long enough to trust you, you know, if they're going to stay that long. Like if they don't, they're going to bail, right? So they're going to stay there. They're long enough to trust you, to feel part of the community, to meet people, and to really have a true immersive experience, a chance to experience what it feels like to be one of your customers. And, you know, I look at Tony Robbins and go, oh, like all of Tony's events are 3 and 4 days. And all of these other events I've been to where they make high ticket offer, they're all like 3 and 4 days. I mean, Funnel Hacking Live is that way. And I mean, all of Tony's events, Relationship Mastery and, you know, or Business Mastery. And then I think, yeah, Date with Destiny and all these, they're multi-day events. And you go, yeah, because after someone's had that experience, they're like really bought in. And I just love it. So you kind of let the format of the event just do its thing, give you lots of time for Q&A and exercises and dialogue and, you know, networking and meeting. That's really, really cool. I really love it. And so my third big takeaway there is just the numbers of how this works. And we have another client that's doing this right now, who is generating several $100,000, like a few $100,000 from each one of these events. And they'll get like a few hundred people there, maybe 300 to 500 people will show up. And so they're selling the tickets for a low ticket price, like 97 or 197. And historically, our events at Brand Builders Group are $3,000 each because our events are legit. I mean, they're like more powerful than a college course, but not everyone has that kind of money. And so, I'm going, golly, if we lowered the price on one of these, just a first one where people got a chance to sample it, I wonder if we can move some of those. I bet we could. I bet we could move a ton of them. So you have a 97 to 197. And again, here's what's really cool about it is it's a virtual event. So you're not paying for venue rental and for AV and for food and beverage and printing workbooks and like name tags and like having your staff there and coffee and like parking and all the massive number of expenses that add up for an in-person event. So you go, I can charge a lower price and I can impact more people. Like that's the best part of this is like money aside, just going, man, I can impact more people, impact people all over the globe by doing a virtual event. And that's why you're doing this, right? I mean, that's why you're a mission-driven messenger. You're going, I want to help people. So, the price is obviously a barrier to the number of people you get to help. And so lowering that price is an interesting idea because you can actually do it and at least break even maybe for your time or the cost of a small team to help you put on the event, etc. But anyways, you charge somewhere between $97 to $197, it sounds like. And she said, did you hear this? She said, we're making offers that go up to $500,000. So at the end of 3 days, they're making offers at some of these events that are as much as $500,000 for a customer. So that's pretty crazy just to wrap your mind around. But a $5,000 offer, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, like this is happening regularly. And I think that's really interesting. So now one thing she did say is numbers wise that in an in-person event, a solid average is like closing 20% of the room, which to me is high. That feels higher than what is normal, but let's say it's 20%. And then she said in a virtual event, it's more like 10 to 15%. So it's slightly lower. In my mind, I'm going, okay, you call that, 10 to 15% in a live event and 5 to 10% in a virtual. But the difference is it's 5 to 10%. So it's a lower percentage, but it's a smaller percentage of a much bigger number because there's a whole bunch more people there because the ticket price is lower and it's a virtual event. So you don't have all the costs of the venue and all that stuff. So it changes the dynamics of this completely, which is really amazing. And she said, imagine if you're just getting started and, you get 50 people to show up to this thing and you get 5 people to buy a $5,000 offer, it's 25 grand. Like for me, when I was first starting, like that was big time money, right? Like that's $25,000 is good money. Like for anybody, like unless you're Elon Musk, most of us aren't stepping over $25,000 bills. So we're probably picking those up. And I just thought that was interesting. I mean, this was just fascinating. Like having her spell out the whole model and go behind the scenes, really, really interesting. And it also was powerful that she's going, it's not the technology. She sells the technology to help you do it, but she's just using Zoom. So her technology layers on top of Zoom to make it a little more like customizable and gamified and all that stuff. But she's saying, you can do this with Zoom. It's not, the technology is not the magic. The format is the magic. And I can see that. And I love that. So, and again, at the end of the day, the big idea here is you're impacting lives. That's it. You're changing lives. You're going, virtual events give us the opportunity to impact lives at scale. Everything virtually gives us the opportunity, the blessing, the privilege to impact lives at scale. And we can afford to charge lower prices for these in-person events, for the virtual events, because it doesn't cost the same. And you can get people to show up and then you can sell more people if it's a feeder event. Now she's saying for your real events, charge the same price as you normally would because it's the same amount of time and the value of the content is the same, whether it's in person or not. But for these entry level events to like fill your programs and try to use a 3-day event to fill the program, I'm excited about it and I'm on board. If nothing else, it's an experiment I think we're going to have to try just to see if we can reach more people, reach you. Some of you probably are listening, are not yet customers of ours, and you've never had a chance to experience like the Brand Builders Group experience. So I don't know, maybe we'll have Bari Baumgardner to thank for that. So anyways, figure out ways to impact lives. Can you do it virtually, reach more people, be able to make the money you need, but by charging a lot, more people, a lower dollar amount? That's inspiring to me. You're inspiring to me. Helping you get your message out to more people is inspiring to me. So I hope you'll keep coming back. Share this episode with somebody that you think will enjoy it. Tell them about the Influential Personal Brand Podcast, or at least go rate us on iTunes, leave a review. And we're so grateful to have you. Hopefully you're following me on Instagram. Come over and say hi, or on LinkedIn. And that's it for this time. We'll catch you next time on the Influential Personal Brand Podcast.